Individuality.
Controversial. Open.
Hope.
Individual.
Faith.
Capitalism.
Change. Family.
Illusion.
Biased.
Gone.
Success.
Bogus.
Consumerist. Conformity. Happiness.
Wealth distribution.
Fantasy.
Happiness.
Happiness, the dream really is to be able to get by on what you make and have wonderful friends, good family. That's a good life.
My mom and my dad, right? My family was the most important thing to me. When I was little, as I got older, then, my friends came in the picture.
Right.
More family members, cousins, hanging out with cousins and getting together with them. Back then, your world was pretty much, where you lived and the surrounding.
1950, I think, when I started working. I went to work in the mill. Yeah, I used to give all my paycheck to my mother.
Mm-hmm. All but $5.
All but $5. She'd give me $5 to spend. I had to buy gas, go out, and operate a car with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's in 1950.
That was, I think, being a good mom and a good grandmother. I wanted to be a lab technician, but I kind of gave up on that. And as I got older, having a family, and the most important thing was raising my children right. And, family life has been the focus.
Well, we ended up with a child, and that kept us very busy. And we were just hoping we could provide her with a decent life.
Well, it just went too fast. Sometimes we were just dragged into the future.
Yeah.
So sometimes we didn't have much chance to think about what we really wanted. When you're busy bringing up kids, you lose track of that period of time, whatever is the cultural thing, the music, the movies, the novels. You just don't have time for any of that stuff. All you need to do is just focus on the kids. Well, it's attainable if you set your goals to be realistic. I mean, these people that are setting goals to make money, they're going to realize that along the way, once they have that money, that it doesn't bring what they thought it was going to bring.
I think it's harder to achieve it because there's so much going on in the world, there's so much turmoil, and the world is smaller.
Yeah.
In the 1950s, money played a big role in the American dream. The invention of the credit card brought in more cars, television, and other technologies into more American homes. With the American dream becoming more and more attainable, immigrants seeking to attain their dreams traveled to America.
I'm Stefan Romantis, and my parents immigrated a number of years ago. My parents fled to America because they were the bombs were dropping in their country in Lithuania. They could literally see tanks, the Russian tanks, coming across their fields, and so they fled on foot. They walked for about 2 weeks till they got to Germany, where they were held against their will in a displaced persons camp. They were held there until they found somebody to sponsor them, and they had a cousin that over the course of 2 years that they found that was willing to sponsor them, and that meant that they'd be willing to assume all financial liability for them, which was quite a big deal. And so they felt like, with the connection to that cousin and the opportunity in America, that would be the place for them. The opportunities that America gave my parents was really just the opportunity to work and to build a life and to build a life in safety. It gave them the opportunity to work as hard as they were able to, and to build a life really starting from scratch. And so my father started after coming through Ellis Island, started in a shoe factory in Massachusetts or New Jersey, and he was really just trying to provide for his family, and really started with nothing, and over time, being somebody that had an entrepreneurial streak, or really not being able to work for anybody else, then he started his own sawmill in Maine. It would have been a whole universe apart. I don't know whether I actually would have been born. My parents would have likely been killed. My dad was smart and had skills, so he, like other family members, were either deported to Siberia or just shot because they were intelligent. They would have posed a risk to the Russians that were invading. My whole life would have been really different. And I grew up as a first-generation child, which meant you really translate for your parents. I grew up with no extended family, so I would have really had a hugely different, and also it was a society that was pretty patriarchal, so the opportunities for a woman would have been really different. So I would have had a really different life. I think the American dream really is that hope of individuality, of following your own path, being able to grow and on your own efforts and with the support of a community, to really thrive and to use the talents you have in a direction that you choose. I don't think the American dream is available for everybody, but I do think we are fortunate enough to have opportunities that, especially as a woman, that in so many other countries that you don't have those opportunities. I do believe in the dream. I do believe that it might be harder than ever, but I think that there are still opportunities. You might have to beat some pretty incredible odds, but I think that we live in a place and an era where opportunity does exist, and there are the freedoms of speech and of pursuing your right to work and to thrive and the pursuit of happiness. So I believe I'm hopeful. I think that it may not be for as much of the community and as much of the country as we hope, but I do think that dream exists.
People in different regions and countries have a variety of opinions about the American dream. This is known by most everyone, of course, but could the region they live in and how they measure their own happiness in life affect how they think of the American dream? Dick O'Brien was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1937. He lived in Boston during the aftermath of the Great Depression. Due to this, his childhood was extremely simple. During the Great Depression, the highest number of unemployed persons at one point was over 12 million. But despite the hardships he lived through in the early years of his life, he still believes in the American dream and that he has achieved it.
In my particular household, we were told work hard, 40 years, get a go watch, retire.
You weren't going to be anything. You weren't going to have much. You weren't going to have a lot of money. No, I've achieved the American dream. I've owned several restaurants. Put two children through college. No, I'm pretty satisfied with America. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. People die to get into this country from all over the world. Nobody's dying to get into Poland, but they're dying to get into America because it is the land of dreams, where people who work hard and try hard and are consistent do well in this country. That's why everybody wants to be in America. What makes you happy is yourself, your attitude towards everything. That's what makes you happy.
As an American, Dick believes in the American dream and that his attitude has brought him happiness in life. But we should also be looking at the opinions and perspectives of people living in other countries. Yu Guodruo is a resident of China, where they carry their own specialized version of the American dream called the Chinese dream. But despite obvious differences in the two dreams, there are still people in China who know of the American dream.
In China or in some other countries, if you want to do something, well, you need to make sure in the beginning that everything's gonna be exactly the same as as you expected. So people are not, cannot risk a lot of stuff. But here, I think American dream is all about, chasing your dream. It's all about realizing something that you think is, may not be possible, but eventually you make it possible. As far as my concern, I think American dream is somewhat real, because based on my own experience in the United States, well, things are more likely to happen if you try to push it, if you work hard towards it. American dream is real, because the way that you achieve your dream is through hard working, and there's no other way to achieve it.
These two interviewees are both different in their beliefs and their reasonings behind them. They both believe that the American dream is real and share the common thought that the American dream can be achieved through hard work. However, the two still hold different opinions, as we always see in today's world. The two live on the opposite sides of the earth and have different backgrounds, of course, but both consider themselves to be happy. Even so, the American dream will continue to be seen the way it is from many different perspectives. Could it possibly be influenced by the many regions and countries in this world?
When Americans hear the word Vietnam, the first thing that comes to mind is the Vietnam War. In hindsight, it was a pointless conflict that spurred more protests than any other U.S. war before. We often think of the loss of American life, numbering over 57,000, but we seldom think of the number of Vietnamese civilians lost. Over 4 million Vietnamese died as a cause of this senseless campaign. That is 70 people for every American soldier killed in action. Acknowledging all the lives destroyed on both sides, the Vietnam War was just one of many conflicts throughout history in which millions of innocent civilians were caught in the midst of unwarranted violence and political turmoil. In these times of distress, America has stood tall as a symbol of freedom and hope. The allure of the United States and the American dream is enticing to many, with the illusion of wealth and success being attainable by all as one of the main forces behind why immigrants flock to this nation. We interviewed Tom Nugent, a Vietnamese immigrant who came to America in the 1980s without a penny to his name. His insights will help to provide the viewpoint that many migrants have had in the past and the present.
In one word, describe the American dream.
Material.
Material?
Yes.
Why?
Because we buy things. We buy in a lot of things that some of them we don't even use it.
Why did you leave Vietnam?
I like America for freedom.
Did they not have freedom there?
Not really. Due to political turmoil and after 1975, the North Vietnam take over and family belong to the South doesn't get treated fairly.
What did you bring with you?
Nothing. Not a penny.
The United States is known as the land of opportunity. Because of its reputation as a place of religious, political, and economic freedom, America has long been a safe haven for refugees and a place for those seeking work and wealth. There have been 4 waves of immigration in the United States' history. In the early 19th century, the first wave of immigrants came from Europe seeking religious freedom. The second wave immediately followed the first, with artisans and farmer peasants hunting for job opportunities after the Industrial Revolution in Europe, as well as poverty-stricken people in the midst of famine. The third wave saw a major flow of immigrants from Asia trying to work in the new railroad industry. The fourth and current wave of immigration began in the 1940s, with refugees fleeing from war-torn Europe. It continued as conflicts in Asia arose over communism, along with the rise of dictators in the Middle East and Africa. Regardless of causes, people left their home in search of someplace safer and more hopeful. The glory of the American dream, which sets America as the land of opportunity, has helped to captivate those and draw them in like moths to a flame.
Then how do you see the American dream now?
The American dream is still there.
What is it for you?
For me, it's living, hard working, and take care of family.
Is the American dream real?
It is real.
Because?
Because people make it real.
As Tom said, the American dream is real, but his definition of it is different than that of the average citizen. Americans in the U.S. have shifted their focus away from the family aspect of the American dream and moved it towards the materialistic facets. Immigrants in the past saw the United States as a place of religious and political freedom, such as the case with Vietnam refugees fleeing political oppression from the communist government. The current dream is turned away from being about the warmth and freedom and connection to family, and is soured with greed and envy. It is unclear how this will change in the future, but only time holds the answer.
Chad Thurlow, I'm 53 years old.
My name is Amy Thurlow. I am 46, and we've been married for 23 years in June, and our son was stillborn in 2004.
What is the American dream to you in one word?
Family.
Subjective.
Do you think that the American dream is real?
I believe that any dream is real.
I mean, I just don't believe in it. I think it's dead. I think it's gone. If it ever really existed, it died, 2 decades ago.
You both grew up in 2-parent and sibling households. So how did losing a child affect your own lives and the raising of your own family?
I don't know. I think it made me more mindful about the things that impacted me in my own childhood and whether I was bringing them into my own family. And I have to say I am far more hyper-vigilant as a parent than I probably would have been under different circumstances.
The American dream, or a dream in general, isn't something that comes free or without loss. You get the good with the bad, and you have to grow and take that. Things don't just happen for anyone. It takes work, and it takes growth and commitment, and it just doesn't come easily.
Would you guys say that you feel you've achieved your own American dream?
I would say close. In some respects, yes. I'd like a little more financial freedom, but other than that.
I guess I don't frame my life in the context of the American dream necessarily, but I mean, I've got a healthy family, and to me, that's pretty much a good thing.
Although some may have believed in the American dream, many started to doubt its tangibility after the Great Depression.
I think that being exposed to so much different types of media and different types of people, I have a pretty good idea of what the general consensus of the American dream is. But I feel like some people have more, for lack of a better word, clean ideas of it. Like more suburban, more clear cut, more white, if we're being honest. And just more same. Everyone's just exactly the same and cookie cutter. And I think that's the general idea that people want. And I just think that's stupid.
Definitely. I think it changes as you change as a person and you're always changing as a person.
Definitely. As a kid, I used to think that I would have the white picket fence and 2.5 kids and I'd be a housewife. And well, I never really bought into that whole straight media thing. I always thought I'd either have a spouse, you know, or like just someone I'd room with and have 2.5 kids. But now I sort of see it as almost dystopic in a way. General expectation is that everyone have a home, live independently, live with a livable wage. There's no room to change, and there's nowhere to grow from that. It's still the white picket fence, the pastel shirts, the 2.5 kids. And that's just not realistic.
Do you think the American dream is real?
I do. I feel like I've reached the American dream. I'm not a billionaire, millionaire, but that's not what I strive to be. For me, it's about what purpose do you have in this life and what you can do to help others.
What is your American dream?
My American dream is pretty much what I have now. I have 3 beautiful sons, a beautiful wife. They're going to school. I want them to go off to college. I've got a greatest job. I feel very good about this, my American dream.
Do you think socioeconomic status affects the way you pursue your American dream?
It does. I think, unfortunately, in this country, we have a high rate of poverty, and I think those kids or those people in poverty, it's going to be a lot harder to reach that American dream, because if you've done any research on poverty, it is cyclical and it kind of stays for a long time. It's hard for people to break out of poverty. So I think the public school system is the last fort or area that we can work on to keep to kind of break that poverty cycle, and that's like closing that achievement gap and the opportunity gap for our kids.
How do you think you've achieved your American dream?
With hard work, determination, and grit, and just pursuing. If I didn't get into this doctorate program, for example, I went and got into another doctorate program. So I think just keeping working hard and keeping your focus of what you really want to do in the forefront.
Do you feel that you are making the wage that you deserve?
I feel that I make the wage I deserve for the job that I work. It's not really that hard. It doesn't require that much of an education. You just have to be experienced. So yeah, I feel like I am.
What are your goals for the future?
I want to go to college, and I want to have a job that I enjoy working and one that pays well too.
What have you done, or what steps have you taken to achieve your American dream?
I've started working, and I'm getting my education here at Thornton, and I plan on going to college, so that will help too.
Do you feel that you have achieved your American dream?
Not yet. I think I'm very far from that. Only being in high school. So once I get into college and start getting more serious jobs, I think I'll get closer to that.
Do you think that socioeconomic status affects the way that you pursue your American dream?
Socioeconomic status definitely affects the way that not only me but other people can pursue their dreams. Being held down by something like that would be very difficult for someone to pursue what they want to in life.
What do you think plays the biggest role in your American dream?
The thing that plays the biggest role in my American dream probably would be all of the things that people within society have told me I should strive towards, whether those people are my parents, my teachers, other members of society whose opinions I value. They've sort of informed my idea of the American dream the most, and so I think the social constructs surrounding the American dream are really what inform my idea of what it
Does your role as an educator help you achieve your American dream?
I think in some ways it at least makes me part of the same structure that informed my American dream, because I was sort of told and guided by my teachers towards an American dream.
What is your American dream, and do you think that you have achieved it?
I definitely haven't achieved it. My American dream is just happiness and fulfillment. And I find myself doing things that, I don't know, maybe are sort of consumerist in nature. Sometimes I spend money in order to try to achieve happiness, or I'll go for the quick fix. And I know in my heart of hearts that in order to achieve happiness and fulfillment, I really just need to be doing the things that I'm passionate about. And, you know, I'm passionate about education, I'm passionate about music, I'm passionate about my family, stuff like that. So I think as long as I can maintain those things in my life, I can work hard at them, then I will someday achieve the American dream and not need all the other sort of excess stuff.
Is the American dream real?
I don't know. I don't know if the American dream is real. I think people have created an American dream that sort of is supposed to blanket cover everybody, right? But I think it would be disingenuous to say that the American dream is a one-size-fits-all feature. I think everybody has their own dream. You know, people who are not born in the United States, for example, might have their own version of the American dream, which wouldn't fit something like the construct that's been presented to me as an American-born citizen. I don't think it's fair to say that the American dream isn't real, but I think that there are two American dreams. There's the one that pertains to each individual, and then there's one that we've sort of created as a society that's supposed to sort of homogenize us all. I think that one's maybe a little less real.
As indicated by the representatives of SACO, the socioeconomic status one has is integral to their image of the American dream. Although the media portrays success in the dream as being rich and living materialistically, the way someone defines that personally is influenced by their experience and ambitions. We spoke with people from around the world who live in the dormitories here at Thornton Academy to see how they perceive the American dream and how their views might have changed after taking up residence in the United States.
I am from Spain. The American dream is finding happiness and a good way of life in America. Before coming here, I think I saw the American dream as most Europeans see it, just like a way of escaping the things we don't like about Europe and coming to America thinking it's gonna be much better here because that's what we've seen in movies and everything. But I think now after my experience, I just see it as something like you can find happiness actually everywhere, and like it's not really that hard to achieve the American dream if that's actually what you believe. It is attainable depending on the person.
I'm from the Czech Republic.
I'm from Spain. The American dream is to come here, study in an important college, then be successful, get married with a rich man that can pay you a big house with a dog usually, have a lot of kids, and then just like be happy. Before coming to America, I thought that it was like in the high school there was the mean girls and like the nerd girls that knew everything, and then the boys were kind of cool, everyone played basketball, but I don't know, it's completely different. Like, of course there are some mean girls and cool boys that play basketball, but this is just like how you want to see it. It's not how it is in the movies, like the typical high school movie. That's not the actual life here. People here in America, they are raised with this idea, like what they teach to the kids here is like, you will be old, you will take care of your kids, this family thing and the big house. It's like such an important thing.
I'm an international student from Poland. To me, it's living in a pretty house with a dog and with 2 kids, and the wife stays at home, and all of that, the stereotypical American life. Before coming to America, I thought the American dream is
much more glamorous than I see it now. It was back at home. It was always showcased as blonde ladies going to Hollywood and making a career and I know getting a rich husband and all of that. So I didn't know that the reality of the American dream is actually a normal life, just a happy life. You can do whatever you want and you can reach that goal depending on your family situation and professional life and all of that.
My name is Irina Yasenitska. I'm from one of the best countries, Ukraine. I think the American dream is something that every single individual can define for themselves. So for me personally, it's the opportunities to study in the US because the education that American society has, it's great. Stereotype of, having a huge house, a lot of money, 2 kids, 3 dogs, chihuahuas, preferably. It changed, I think, more of a educational perspective. Like the educational, way is the American dream for me. I mean, I'm here, so. When you're at the place and you talk to people, you get to know the culture and stuff like that, I think where I'm from doesn't matter. I mean, I've been here for 3 years and hopefully I'm gonna stay here for college. Yeah, I think I did achieve my American dream.
I'm from Hong Kong. Before I came here, I don't know it even existed. It was a thing. But after I come here and I took American history classes and I learned that, it's actually talking about how the way people live is normally a couple and then they have 2 kids and then maybe a pet. That's the way they live, standard way living. Back home, we don't really talk about American dreams. Personally, I don't think it's achievable because it kind of limit the way females, the area that we can work on. For example, the American dream is about women can only live in your house and then you can just give birth and then do what you should be doing. But I mean, right now in the modern world, we can do whatever we want. So that's why I think American dream is not really containable.
I'm from Italy. The American dream is to have a goal, perceive it, and conquer it. I view the American dream as I see it even now, and I saw it as studying to achieve a result. Actually, I understood more the fact that if you put yourself and work hard, you can achieve your goals. I think the American dream is the dream.
Stacey O'Hole of the Main Street community of Saco, Maine, has 50 girls hailing from 20 different countries. The world is at their fingertips, and for many girls that means chasing their dreams here in America, however different it may be from person to person.
After hearing these accounts, it is made clear how much the media, both regionally and internationally, affected these people's views of the American dream. These ideas were changed after experiencing the United States for themselves. The optimistic outlook that America has, and the belief that we can do anything we put our minds to, is something not every country has. This belief has wavered in Americans over the years, though, as you'll soon see in our conference with regional Mainer, Mr. Stalker.
How long has your family lived in Maine?
Let me see, about 20 years.
What do you do for work?
I am a letter carrier.
And what exactly does that entail?
Delivering mail house to house.
How far away are you from our state capital or a major city?
Probably about 3 hours. State capital? Yeah, major city, 40 minutes.
40 minutes. What's difficult about living in Maine?
Weather.
Weather. What are the benefits of living in Maine?
Oh boy. No hurricanes.
Yes, no hurricanes. Do you believe the American dream is real?
No.
How old were you when you had your first job?
14.
14? And what was it?
Working on a farm.
How old were you when you got your first vehicle?
21.
21? How do you see the American dream?
Doesn't exist. Day to day.
In one word, how would you describe the American dream?